Hey there, I'm Graham. I am a part of the upper room here in Corvallis, the prayer room at Oregon State University. And Renee asked me to just share a little bit about how we got this whole space here. It's a pretty fun story. And yeah, so we've been here for about 2.5 years.
Hey, say hi.
You're telling the story of the upper room.
Ooh, yeah, that's fun. It's good.
Let's give it a record. So we've been here for about 2.5 years, and about 6 months before we got this space, my friend Isaiah, who works in the coffee shop downstairs, had a vision of there being a 2-story adobe building on Monroe Street, which is the street that we're on here. A 2-story adobe building, and in the vision he went upstairs and there was a hallway, and at the end of the hall there was a door with a purple curtain, and inside this room there was people praying and playing music and painting and worshiping God. And so he had this vision, and he was thinking about it, not really sure if there was an adobe building on campus or on Monroe. And about 1.5 months later, he realized that the Beanery, the coffee shop that he works in, is the only adobe 2-story building on all of Monroe.
Awesome.
So one morning I'm dropping him off for work, and we go upstairs to check out the apartments up there. And there's a hallway with 3 doors, and the door at the end of the hall happens to be the only one that's painted purple. We were very excited about. So it's 5 o'clock in the morning. We put our hands on the door quietly and just ask God for the space. That God, we want this space. We bless the person that lives here to get a better living situation somewhere else. And long story short, within 2 weeks, this gal moves out. She had been there for 2 years, worked downstairs, had no real intentions of moving, but she decided to get a roommate somewhere else. So we start talking to the maintenance guy about wanting to move in and use this space for a prayer room thing. And he got word back to the landlords about this group of young people wanting to use this apartment. And so they come in to the Beanery looking for Isaiah and trying to find out why these students want to use this room for art and prayer and stuff. And so he sits down and shares the vision with them of having a prayer room here. And one of the gals that is our landlord, she just about breaks down crying because she actually, several years before, had helped start the Arizona State House of Prayer. She lives in Phoenix. And it was her birthday that day, and her passion in life is night and day prayer. And so they were so thankful that there was this group of young people that wanted to use one of their apartments for a prayer room in Oregon State. So obviously we got the room. They were very happy to rent it to us. And we moved in on Halloween night of 2009. And did a big outreach, kind of, spiritual reading booth kind of thing, open air party down on the sidewalk, and had people praying upstairs. And it was not planned, it was not that well organized whatsoever. We were just trying to move furniture in here and kind of get things set up. And for the first 1.5 weeks, we had prayer going on in here 24 hours a day for the first, I think it was the first 2 weeks, at least the first 1.5 weeks, without organizing anything. And since then, this has just really become a part of this neighborhood. This is a sacred space for people to meet with God. People have come in and said this place feels like God's living room. It's the place where they can go sit on the couch and just have a cup of coffee and talk to God. They can come and get peace. We have a lot of people coming in that aren't believers that come in just because it feels really good up here, because this is a peaceful place where they can come. They'll come and they'll put prayer requests on our wall, asking for someone to share the good news with them, or someone to pray for them because they feel so broken inside. And so this has really become a part of the neighborhood. We are positioned right between the Greek community, back this way, all the frats and sororities, and then if you look out that window, there's Oregon State right down across the street. So God's put us here really strategically, and we're super, super stoked to be here.
Yeah. What about the other apartments up here?
So there are 2 other apartments up here, and when we got this place, the other 2 were still filled. One of them was a sorority live-out, so no, they just keep switching girls out there, no prospects of that opening anytime soon. And then the other one, the girl had lived there for 2 or 3 years, worked downstairs, didn't have any reason to leave. And within a couple months, all of the sorority girls decided to go somewhere else, and me and 4 of my friends move into that room to occupy. We occupied the upstairs. And within several months of that, the other gal decided to move out too, and we moved guys into that apartment. So now we have the entire floor.
Come on.
And we can be as loud as we want, pretty much. And now it's becoming, more of like a neighbor, like a community living here in the neighborhood. We do a lot of meals up here, just inviting people over, people that we meet on the street, or just, really practicing hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And this has become a hub for prayer in general on campus. We're not really a community, necessarily a house of prayer community that uses this room. This is a place for Christians and non-Christians all over campus to come and meet with God. So this is really a hub for a lot of different ministries, and a lot of different groups and house churches and stuff will come here and pray. So this is one of the prophetic words that we got from a gal named Amy Solers, who's part of YWAM. She said that if revival was a body in this area, that this room would be the heart. Mm-hmm. And so we very much felt like our call is to be a place that facilitates people meeting with God, and being a place where people are coming and going all the time. And we're here to just keep the doors open and really just point to Him and say it's about connecting with Him. It's about knowing Him and living the dream.
Amen. Oh, and then you have what do you call it? Your poetry.
So this is primarily a prayer room, but prayer could be defined as a lot of different things. We loosely define it as, conversation with God, people connecting with God. So we have gatherings here. One of them we call the Living Poets Society, and that is a place for people who are believers and non-believers to come and free write poetry together. And I didn't realize it when we started it, but poetry is probably one of the coolest ways to engage people on deep matters without preaching at them. Because when you share a poem, everybody else in the room is seeking to understand what you're saying. They're not trying to, they don't feel defensive because you're preaching at them. They actually just want to know and understand and appreciate that poetry. And so it's become kind of a therapeutic gathering for a lot of people to just come and really be honest and share their hearts. And, it's a place where the Spirit of God moves really powerfully. And so we do a lot of different things. It's, this is just a hub for Jesus activities on campus of all kinds. There's people that come here and pray for campus. There's groups that come in that are really focused on planting simple churches on campus, and this is a place where they come and disciple people. There's noon prayer here that happens every day. People are just coming and interceding for the campus and the nations. We'll have worship gatherings here. We'll have just big soaking parties where people come and bring pillows and blankets and just hang out and receive Father's love. And, it's the vision is a place, for this place is just to facilitate people getting really connected with God. And we really believe that if we get people hooked up with Jesus, He takes care of the rest. Like they'll come and they'll go all over the world. And if they get connected with Him, then they'll be good. They'll rock. So the goal is to point to that. Like, you need Him. You need to know Him.
That's good.
And then our experiment is to see what happens with that. If we just get people hooked up with Jesus, people come, they meet Jesus for the first time, they get really connected with Him. See what happens.
Mm-hmm.
What passions does God have for new believers that have never been exposed to Christianity, really? What is He going to do with them? Where is He going to take them?
So good.
So
wow. We just get able to prayer room. I'll show you your prayer room here. Stations. It's good. Hey, who's that?